So last night I was like trying to figure out how to get home because I was like in the South Bay. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to Uber. Like taking the Caltrain does not seem worth it. And the Uber was
What time was it?
It was like 12 at night or something like that, like midnight. And I booked the Uber, but then I'm just getting like FOMO because like my family's like leaving the next morning, so I keep delaying it. So like the Uber comes, I cancel it once. The Uber comes again, I cancel it twice. Then at some point at like 2 a.m. I'm like, I really need to go home because I have to wake up tomorrow, right? And so like I quickly like rush pack everything. I go home. I wake up and I'm like I like shower for 10 minutes. I'm like in just like a phase, and I get into the car and I realized I forgot my laptop, but it wasn't at home. Like it was in the South Bay.
Oh yeah.
It was in the South Bay. And so I was like, holy fuck, I'm just going to work without a laptop. It was so bad. And then
You came here without your laptop today?
Yeah. No, it was bad. It was really bad. And so luckily this is where like my life comes in clutch for me, because remember how I broke my laptop, like my laptop screen, like
yeah, I do
like
remember.
6 months ago. So I never got it fixed. So it's just been sitting on my desk the entire time. So I plugged that thing in, got that thing booted up, and like worked on that for like half of the day until I could figure out how to get my like.
That makes so much sense. We were at Maya's desk and I was wondering why you had 2 computers.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
that makes so much sense now.
Phones.
Anyways,
How was your weekend? It was her sisters are in Gaithrum, which is so cute.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, that's like a 3-hour dance performance, and so
the classical Indian dance. Maya did it herself. Now it's on to her sisters.
8 years later, yeah. And then the youngest one wants to do it too at some point. Oh my God, bless my parents. I literally looked at all the things I did and I was like, wow, I was such an ungrateful child.
Yeah.
And then I saw them do it for her and I was like, there is so much work into this.
Monica, anything exciting from your weekend?
No, you were there for all of it.
Oh yeah, tell me guys, what'd you do?
Well, not all of it. Oh, I went to Westwood. And I saw the entire world there.
I saw your text in the group chat. It was like, come to the Marina. And I was like, whoa.
Well, because I knew they were all going out also, but they were going to Persona. And I was like, why are you guys going to Persona? Just come out in the Marina. And then they did
Persona
go
like
out in the
That's like the
Marina.
new spot everyone goes to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Isn't it just like a nice
Yeah,
sit-down
Persona's fun.
bar?
Like, I feel like Persona's a really nice bar, but I don't know if, Anyway, we all went to Westwood.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was like...
That's like all my friends.
Yeah, it was all your friends. But then, no, it were like actually like 10 worlds colliding because then Annika and I met this founder that we were talking to on Saturday. Or no, Friday. Friday during the day because we had the day off. So we were meeting him on Friday just to like for a coffee chat. And then I go to Westwood and I see him there and he's like, no way, let me buy you a shot.
Yeah, and then I went to my old roommate's apartment for brunch on Saturday. Actually, we were apart for that part. And then we were catching up. And then this girl, like, that I also know is there, and she was talking about how she works for Brian Johnson, and I was like, that's crazy.
Oh, I didn't even know people work for him.
But yeah, he has a whole team. Wait, I think he's making, like, how many figures is that? Like, 100 million plus in revenue.
From his, like...
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's insane.
Wow.
I might have made that up, but I think... no, I think.
You really never
Wait,
know.
low-key, some of these people... that I feel like have these like consulting adjacent businesses, but in a hyper niche,
Make a ton of money.
it just makes so much money and no one even realizes there's a whole business around it.
Oh, like everyone freaking out about Dylan Patel's business?
Yeah.
Well, we were early on to that news. Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Sometimes I just think, like, what if we outed it? Like,
Oh my God, wait, Annika and I were talking about this. We keep a lot of people's secrets.
We do.
Well, because this guy was telling us something at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
That we won't say.
No, but half the things people say are confidential or not. Anyways, people always say things to us and then they're like, don't tell anyone. But it's not like my friends. It's always people where it's my second or third conversation with them. Like, I feel like Audie actually would never say something confidential to me. But like some random person I meet out is like, oh, like, don't tell anyone. And then they're always like, oh, I forgot you have a podcast. And I was like, clearly we're not serious journalists if you're just yapping. I want people to start saying it's off the record when they speak to me.
Cool. Should we get into it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome back to Get the Check. I'm Maya.
I'm Annika.
I'm Priya.
And today's lineup, we have 3 fun stories. I
Really
changed it up there,
fun.
yeah. Did you, like, I changed mine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's We're gonna start with Midjourney's new medical division. They just made a new device that scans your entire body and produces a 3D imaging model of your body, almost like an MRI. You can't call it an MRI because it's obviously different, but we're going to go into what the tech is behind that and if it's scalable. The next thing we'll go into is Snap's new glasses specs. They have been working on this project for I think over like 10 years at this point, and they just announced their 6th version of it is what it is, and it's coming to market in July of this year, 2026, and we're gonna talk for a price point of like $2,000.
Yeah, it's expensive, and it's not cute either.
Yeah, not cute. So,
It's chunky.
Not as cute as Maya's new glasses.
Oh. You noticed. I can see, guys. Yeah, my eye doctor was like, "You really can't see. You shouldn't be driving." And I was like, well, I'm gonna drive tonight to the South Bay.
Well,
so.
if you've ever been in the car with Maya,
You can tell she can't see.
why the doctor's saying that. And I don't even have my driver's license, and I'm saying that. And like, whenever I'm in the car with Maya, I'm fearing for my life. But like, realistically, I can't say anything because I don't even know how to drive. So I'm just like silently.
You're like, I don't know how to drive, but I know this is not.
That's how I know it's bad, because you're the only person I've ever noticed is a bad driver. Like, other people I've noticed are unsafe drivers. Like, we have this one guy friend, he's very unsafe driver.
Annika always says, I'm a really fast but really safe driver.
Yeah.
You are a safe driver.
Yeah.
I'm not.
But she's fast.
Yeah.
Because I can handle it. Dude, imagine Maya at my speeds.
She wouldn't even be able to get there. But you're also grew up in SoCal, and people speed in SoCal.
Yeah, people do speed there.
People are really bad drivers.
Wait, we
in the
have
Bay.
so much fun driving in SoCal.
Oh, it's just like such a vibe to drive in SoCal.
Especially when Priya's dad gets a new car.
Especially when you're driving down the coast. Too.
Yeah,
I know.
It is nice.
Yeah. Okay, our third story is on Taste Labs, and Taste Labs is a company started by some ex-EXA folks, and what they do is
Folk.
singular folk. And what they do is they are trying to bring aesthetic to AI models in multiple different ways, and we're going to go into their different business lines, but they do not have a model of their own. Don't be fooled.
Oh, that's a foreshadowing for what Maya has to say.
Sorry.
So to start with Midjourney, they are the company that became famous for their AI image generation. And they've been doing this for a long time. It's very like community focused. They have raised no outside VC money, which is pretty crazy. And it was fully a Discord, like on Discord, a Discord community. And they just announced, like Maya mentioned, a medical division where they're planning to go into these like full body scanners that are based on ultrasound. And to me, the most exciting part was that they're opening a spa and sauna in San Francisco in Union Square in 2027.
We should overlay what it's supposed to look like. It looks sick. You
Yeah,
saw
their
it,
launch
right?
video was also sick. Like, I feel like, well, makes sense. They're an image generation company, but everything is so aesthetic.
Wait, do you guys understand? What does it mean that it was running on Discord?
Basically, it had no UI of its own. So
Oh,
you
you
couldn't
just,
like
like,
go to the
tag.
website. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just like
Oh.
tag it and you give it a prompt and it would generate an image for you.
Yeah, and I think they're just like known for being really early first movers to AI image generation.
Yeah,
Like
and
earlier than Dolly, right?
Very early. I don't know exactly what year it was started, but it's because their CEO, David Holes, has a background in a lot of this. His background is in VR and motion tracking, and Midjourney is fully owned by him, or
Yeah.
like roughly. Like we don't know the exact amount, but I would assume it's like very, very high.
Yeah, he bootstrapped it, right?
And it's
Yeah.
about 500 mil ARR in 2025 with 163 people.
Live fact checking, it was not before Dolly, but it was shortly after.
Okay.
that
Yeah.
makes
Like
sense.
within 6 months.
Yeah. And
Well, I assume it was running on it's built on top of the models, right? Or they have their own model.
I thought they had their own model at the time, but that could have been
In
completely false.
2022?
Well, it's not crazy to say that they trained their own model in 2020
At the
or
time.
2021 because those models were really small. So they weren't that expensive.
I
But
see.
keeping up with the training scale without VC-backed funding is really hard, which is why they haven't
You're right.
been
They've
known
always been using their own models.
Yeah, so they haven't been known for their newer generation models because they just can't compete on like training scale. And my guess it's probably some philosophical reason of like why he wants to run the company the way he does and not take outside money.
Yeah, I think it is that. Like,
Wait, I thought it's because they've also always been profitable.
they are also profitable because he has said that the image generation revenue is what gives them the ability to fund anything they want and take these big bets and leaps, which we'll talk about later. People are not happy with Evan at Snap for doing the same thing. So that's a reason to not like take VC money, because you can really just do anything you want. And I feel like it probably has pushed him more on the frontier of like thinking of like, what else can I do out there? Because I remember when I read about this, I was like, oh wow, this is one of the coolest intersections of AI and like the real world and what humans want that I've seen, honestly. I thought it was super cool.
Yeah, everyone loves this company.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like a lovable company because it's in the aesthetic space, it's bootstrapped. They're generating north of 200 million annually, and they're
500 million annually.
Oh, sorry, 500 million annually, and their like revenue to employee ratio is really high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so on June 17th, they announced their new medical division. And what they did was they developed a full body imaging system that uses sound waves and water rather than radiation or magnets to produce 3D images of the body in seconds. So it's important to note that it does basically torso, I think, and it doesn't do your head. But on the flip side, it can produce an 3D rendering of your like entire organ system. Like even like tumors, for example, will be mapped out in there, and there's no magnets. And so it's accessible to more people at a cheaper cost.
Yeah. And that's the difference between what they're doing and what an MRI is, because an MRI uses magnets. And it basically just causes all the hydrogen atoms to line up in your body, and then it vibrates and a computer is able to like take images of it. Ultrasound works by having these sound waves go through your body and a picture is created that way. So they basically dunk you into water, not your head though, and then run this ultrasound through your body. And like Maya said, it's like way, way cheaper because the average MRI cost is $1,300.
Yeah. It's unclear. Okay. So the to make the thing, it's cheaper. To actually produce an image, it's still a little bit unclear because they produce like 806 terabytes worth of data for a single image.
Insane.
And that's like all the raw sonic waves that come out of that. And then they have to compress that into a 3D model. So it is unclear I guess I haven't read the paper that they came out with, but I'm unsure on how much money it costs to compress all that information to a 3D model and whether that is cheap or not. But yeah.
But
It will be cheaper, they're at least advertising it as like landed cost or like landed price is expected to be like 10x cheaper.
Yeah.
But obviously it's still in early phases, and the actual technology that they're basically reliant on is this actually public company called Butterfly Network, and what they basically did was they took these palm-sized ultrasound devices that could even connect to like your smartphone, and they fit all of that technology on one chip. And their stock obviously ripped when Midjourney announced this, but they've been around for a while, and they're like a relatively established company. So they put out like one semiconductor chip.
Yeah. Going a little bit into the Butterfly Network partnership, the deal was signed back in November 2025, and it was initially signed for a $15 million upfront fee and then a $10 million annual licensing fee to Butterfly, plus additional like payments of $9 million to every further milestone. And so this totals around $74 million. So it's actually, I think, honestly, a small contract in my opinion, if you think about the kind of scale that they're going after. But I believe the payment scales with the number of chips. And so it's going to be like a per chip model. And so it just represents like this. I think this contract was essentially for the first like 5 scanners or something like that.
Well, they also said that they're planning to develop their own silicon. So like, it's also that I don't know how long of a partnership it will be, because I'm sure they're already in development to do it themselves, the same as like every other company like Apple or whoever else.
Does anyone know the market cap of Butterfly? Because I wonder if it was also potentially an acquisition target.
It's possible. I don't know what it is. Annika's our live fact checker. She's looking it up right now.
$7 stock. It's less than a $2 billion market cap.
Yeah.
Isn't that really small?
That is really small.
You're looking at me like that's not small.
For a public company, that's really small.
That's tiny.
It's tiny, but it's not like that they could, because they're not going to take on, I guess if they do a stock to stock merger or something, they could merge.
I feel like they're probably not going to acquire them, but who knows?
Yeah.
I feel like the main part that was interesting to me here is like, I haven't looked into the difference between an MRI, a CT, and an ultrasound before. And I think there's some interesting commentary around like the different things that they can all do. A lot of the pushback around how effective this is going to be or not be is basically around like each thing is good at a different thing. So like ultrasounds are really good at soft tissue or fluid filled things. So that's why they're like really good for like screening for breast cancer or like abdominal stuff, like if you're pregnant. And it uses sound waves, which makes sense. And it's like very cheap, zero radiation. They're basically combining ultrasounds and CT scans. And then CT scans are good at a different set of things, which is like lungs. And then MRIs are good at, I think, brains. Yeah, brain, spine, joints, organs. And basically what makes an MRI effective is if something is covered in bone, so like your brain is in your skull, an MRI can still get a good rendering of it. And the thought is that like this is probably not going to be good at renderings of things covered in bone, and that's also why
It's only
They're
in your
not doing your
torso.
head.
why they're submerging you, because like basically air and bone are the two things that are like difficult for an ultrasound. And so like that's why they're not doing it in air and they're doing it in water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the market size for this is huge. Like the medical imaging market as a whole is $45 billion, and MRIs specifically are the biggest segment of that at $12 billion. And people are generally comparing it the closest to MRIs.
The one thing on Priya, what you're saying about how they're trying to become like the next MRI or like as good as MRIs, they've said they like think they could even be more effective. And I think that's where a lot of people have pushed back. Like I read Hank Green, I thought had a good essay about it, where he was like, they all have a different skill set of things they're good at. So it's like strange to say like this would be a better MRI. That being said, I'm like obviously not a medical professional, so I don't know if they're like cooking something behind the scenes, but there are like professionals saying they don't think that what an MRI is good at would be replaced by something like this. So I think that's like one category of pushback they've received. And then the other big category of pushback they've received is when you test people that are healthy in ultrasounds and MRIs and all of these things, you roughly generate some abnormality finding in 30% of people. And that is actually found to be net harmful because did you guys read about this
Yeah,
at
like
all?
there's just like false positives in the scans.
Yeah, it's like false positives. Yeah, it is a false positive, but then it's like you have to undergo more testing, right? Like, and sometimes it's invasive. So like a surgery or like an additional x-rays or a biopsy or all of these things. And that actually ends up having like net more harm than if like all of this hadn't been done. I think where it gets really tricky is like, it's interesting to think about how like you've probably thought about this way more than me. Like if you ever hear a doctor talk about like a very sick patient, they almost sound like they don't care, which they obviously do, but you know what I mean? They're just, it's like a math problem to them in a sense. Like what is the probability this person has cancer? Yeah. What is the probability XYZ? And I think that on like the scale of humans, it's like obviously not beneficial in some doctors' eyes to have like everyone have a $5 accessible thing. If think about 30% of people generating an abnormality, that's like enough to actually affect your overall healthcare system, right? Yeah. In a country that has a shortage of doctors, really expensive healthcare costs already, that it would actually be damaging, versus like all the pushback on X from like rich VCs and stuff was like, I have a right to my own health information. And I feel like people feel really alienated when someone makes an argument like that, because it's like, obviously I want all the information I could have on my own health, and like I'm not going to be receptive to someone saying that it could be a false positive, right? Yeah. But then I saw someone else say this thing that was like kind of trying to find a middle ground, that was like, actually if a technology like this really becomes like 10x cheaper, 100x faster, it could potentially not overflow the healthcare system, because what we haven't accounted for is if it's really that easy, then people that can afford it, want to take time in their day, just do it like, let's say once a week, once a month for a long period of time. And then you don't have so many false positives because like you are mapping your body over time.
So I agree with the point on the MRI versus CT. Like I think that's like an like that is a very factual point. Like most doctors agree with it. Like all the doctors at OE were talking about this.
Oh wait, yeah, I was gonna ask.
Yeah, like they were just like, it's not an MRI. It's very clearly like not an MRI. Sure, it's a scan of your body, but the fidelity at which it like tells you of what's in your body is not going to match an MRI. Because
But it's also like, I'm not gonna go get an MRI.
Yeah,
but I would
yeah.
go get this. So
yeah, but I think the bigger thing,
But it's more the advertising, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like it's not about that. It's about like saying you're gonna be better than an MRI.
the thing that I guess they were like sort of vague in their video, in my opinion. I don't think that they were saying that they were better than MRI, but I think they were saying that they were like, that this is like the first time like a human image can be, like a 3D rendering of your body can be produced so cheaply.
Wait, they definitely said that they were gonna be like as good as an MRI because that was what received a bunch of pushback. My best guess is they think that AI's ability to understand ultrasounds will get so good over time that it'll like rival an MRI. And then what doctors are saying is like MRIs have completely different strengths in terms of what they're even able to capture. Obviously, I don't know enough to like really know, but
They specifically said, we've dreamed of something as powerful as MRI and as casual as a trip to the spa, and we're unveiling a path to that today.
yeah.
yeah, so I feel like that's not like saying they're better than an MRI.
I think they're like, I don't think anywhere they claim to be an MRI replacement. I think that they're just trying to say that it is as powerful as it, meaning that like I think they were very careful with that language on purpose, is what I'm trying to say. That they're not a replacement. They didn't use the words replacement, but they used like, oh, we measure up to it, and they wanted that to be left to its own interpretation. And meaning like it'll capture things that MRIs are not good at, the way that like you need CT scans for certain things and you need MRI scans for other things.
I agree they're not trying to say like right now instead of getting an MRI you should come to our spa, but I think the reason why people are getting like a little bit triggered is like there's two other companies, I can't remember the names, but they basically also do similar like types of scans, and the FDA basically has a loophole where if you're not diagnosing people, you're allowed to do it, but it's like actually illegal if you are diagnosing people, and part of the reason why is because of the whole abnormalities issue.
Yeah.
And so people think they're going to run into like potential legal issues.
Well, also there's things that MRIs just can't catch. Like the most commonly example is like kidney stones that CT scans do catch. Well, so I was thinking that they were going to go after like a very like almost, okay, like med spa meets body spec.
Yeah, kind of.
Right?
But also kind of like bathhouse vibes.
Yeah. Because I was looking at actually like the med spa business in general, because a lot of people, like a lot of ex-bankers actually start like
There's so much money to be made in it.
Med spa businesses, because they're essentially like I think a couple $1 million to start, and then they generate a couple $1 million in revenue in their first year at a 20 to 25% margin, and so your return is within 4 years, which is like pretty good for like a business like that. And then you can just scale to like 10 businesses pretty fast if you have like an initial capital allocation. And so this is for med spas, anything with like like laser appointments or like some facials or something like that. And then I was looking into the Body Spec financials, and Body Spec has over 100 locations, and because they're private, no one knows how much money they make. But like our Marina location that I go to, for example, they have like a scan every 5 minutes, 8 hours a day, and they have 2 scanners, and that pulls in anywhere between $2.5 to $3 million in revenue.
And it's like a tiny place. Like the lease is so small.
It is.
There's no space. They only need 3 employees, 1 person at the front desk, and 1 person manning each scanner.
Yeah,
it's really crazy.
It's crazy. And then each scanner also only costs like $100K.
Yeah,
like I thought it was a lot more expensive.
Wait, I feel like we talked about this when we both got DEXA scans, and we were like, wait, why don't we just go into this business? There's like so much money to be made.
Yeah. So a lot of the online quotes are like, oh, it's $40 million. I think it's more, maybe the Marina like location pulls in a lot of money, but I still think it's more money than $4 million that they're pulling in. And so if you take to an account like, okay, what would Midjourney charge? Let's say they're doing 20 scans a month at $100 a scan. That's almost $7 to $8 million in revenue. Mm-hmm. And Body Spec is doing like so many scans a month. They're like, a day. Mm-hmm. They're probably doing like, what is it? 5 times. Sorry.
They have slots every like 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah. So what is it? So it's like 12 times 8 or something. So 120 to 140. Oh my God. this is terrible math, like anywhere between 120 and 140 scans, right? So like you can imagine that this med spa will just pull in a lot of revenue. I don't think it's ever going to be like a VC backed business model, but if you get to like 300 locations,
well, 300 is crazy. Like I don't think that's honestly what they're trying to do. Like,
but if you do get to 300 locations, you can make $54 million in scans with 3,000 scanners.
Yeah. And their first location is supposed to have 9 to 10. So apparently they already bought the location in Union Square. It's 25,000 square feet with hot tubs, saunas, cold plunges.
Oh, I'm definitely going.
I'm for sure going. This is going to be so fun. It's opening at the end of 2027. And part of it, like you're saying with like the whole pricing and business model, is that they want to see what the right business model for them to do is. Like he explicitly at the launch event was basically like, do people want a spa plus a scan? Do they want a gym involved? Do they want a quick scan and then leave, like what you're saying and how DEXA scans places typically work? And so part of the reason that they're opening this like flagship location in San Francisco is to figure out their pricing and their business model.
I think what's also really interesting is that we don't really have good imaging of bodies over the course of their lifetime, like and how they degrade or like how they grow and then degrade, and we don't have this like fidelity at like a 1 month 1 week basis for anybody. And I'm sure there's been studies that do CT scans like regularly, but you only have probably a sample size of like 100 people. And so imagine being able to scale that to like tens of thousands of people, like what AI models trained on that could do. Like I just could see that there is, because there's like a huge trough of data that will come out of this, it could be useful or it could totally not be useful. And that's why going the med spa route makes sense.
Yeah, and that's even why they went the ultrasound route relative to like other types of medical imaging, because that's like the cheapest and most portable. And they're not the first ones to make this bet. I don't know if you guys know that I got an ultrasound recently.
Wait,
do you guys know this?
For your hand?
No. Is that a thing they do? No, I got an ultrasound in my heart because my friend works at GE Healthcare and they have an AI ultrasound business unit. And like that business unit that he works for is a direct competitor to this. And this is fully what they do. But like their bet is like less obviously like sexy med spa. Their bet is that operators miss a lot of things and that AI is like going to get really good at basically just like reading an ultrasound.
Yeah.
And so that's what they've been doing. And so they're paying people like $80 to get their ultrasound.
Wait, so what'd you learn?
Yeah. I mean, no, he just looked at my heart and was like, it's fine. And I was like, thank God.
Thank you.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in terms of like next things of what they might do, like everyone's talking about how this is reading, but there's also like actually writing back to the body and like what you can do if that you do actually discover something, and like how they could use the same technology and the same like therapies to basically go in and like make changes, which is cool.
Yeah. Moving on to our next story. Snapchat just does someone else want to do the intro for this?
Snapchat just released Specs, which is their latest bet on AR glasses that put a full computer display basically in your
this is what Annika's been dreaming of forever.
Field of vision, which would be awesome. So I look at someone and it's like, you met them a year ago at this networking event that you don't even remember you went to, and this is what you talked about. And whoever is like, that's killing human connection, it's actually increasing my human connection, because right now people get really concerned for me. So I think we all know Snapchat back from the middle school days.
Wait, I didn't even realize it was founded in 2011. Like, I didn't realize how early we were.
Oh, we were
to
so
Snapchat.
Early. I think I made mine in my profile in 2012 or something like that.
Wait,
no, I know.
You know, my middle school teacher was like Evan's middle school teacher before he was mine.
No way.
And then he would like tell us like, oh, like these, like my students made Snapchat.
And then they IPO'd in 2017. So honestly, we've really lived through it all. I remember after they IPO'd during COVID, their stock like skyrocketed.
Wait,
everyone
really?
was trading the Snapchat stock. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
And then it crashed. And then like TikTok made it crash. Like TikTok and like Instagram stories became big. TikTok became big, and then it like died.
Well, there's like
it has never come back.
There's like a whole part of my life just in Snapchat.
I know. I was actually just talking to someone about this because they were like, yeah, I still take memories on Snapchat because it like captures like different parts of my life. I was like, oh my God. I haven't gone on mine in so long. It's kind of traumatizing.
I have to go through and download all of it because otherwise they're going to delete it. because they announced that they're deleting anyone who doesn't pay for the year subscription for their data.
Oh my God, I need to download. I have so many memories.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
Really?
In my head.
A lot of it is just videos of my sisters.
Oh.
Wait, I have so much good Snapchat content because I used to just take content of my parents. And like they're genuinely the most entertaining people. Like we used to rage bait my dad before rage baiting was a thing and record it all on Snapchat.
Yeah. So like, don't you want that?
No, I do. It's just like downloading that, paying the subscription.
You can just download it. That's all you have to do.
And then I have to pay them. But they're not doing very well now. Advertisers are not interested in them because everyone on Snapchat doesn't have any money.
Yeah. So what's really interesting about their user base is they hold essentially the kind of like 12 to 15-year-old user base.
Well, my brother and all his friends use Snapchat all of high school. And like, I feel like he's on the edge of like aging out of it now.
Yeah.
But he's like 19. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like they honestly have the audience until 18.
Yeah, so they reached 469 million daily active users in Q2 of 2025, and they reached 90% of 13 to 24-year-olds across 25 countries. And
Wait, what was the stat?
Over 1 billion people use it monthly.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the stat where I was like the daily active users like 500 million. But then when you think about the fact that that quickly converts to billions monthly.
And we're like, that's like 1/7 of the entire world population.
Yeah, like
That's
more.
really crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do have like a lot of people, but it's just that advertisers don't want to pay for ad spots there.
My hot take, there must be a way to make an app with that many people on it valuable.
Monetize.
Even if they're young, like today's
Yeah.
poor person is tomorrow's rich person.
Yeah. I think they just didn't know how to monetize their user base correctly because they also did like a whole subscription driven thing, and then like that didn't work out as well. So
Rip
Because
some Discord ads. Or sorry, not Discord. What do all the kids spend all their money on?
Roblox.
Rip some Roblox ads.
but I just think it's crazy how many users they have because like I don't use it. It just
Yeah, that is crazy, honestly.
Maya's learning there's other people out there.
no. Like,
No, I agree. There's no way 1 in 7
Yeah.
people.
And given that many people are using it, the fact that they're not profitable makes it even worse. Like,
Yeah.
you're not making any money. In
What's-
fact, you're actually losing $460 million. Like, that's crazy.
What's also kind of crazy is that Snapchat, in a way, was like really early. They're constantly talking about like augmented reality.
well, they built
like,
the filter,
the
dog
filters,
filter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the dog filter.
Like, was
gonna
that
have
not
any-
kind of like the OG Sora?
No, that was revolutionary.
part of what they wanted in their original version of Spectacles, like back in 2016? It was basically just like a camera. And you could have like filters was their whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when Instagram launched stories and I was like, this would never take off. It's such a ripoff.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah.
I remember that too. And look at us now. But Evan,
That's proof users don't know what they want.
Wait, also, I thought that about Reels too. Wait, you know,
Yeah.
a friend I knew in college was like part of the original Instagram Reels team of like 5 people. I just remember thinking like, oh, that's really cool, but also like it's not gonna do like TikTok is so good, like it's not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
And now Reels
Yeah.
is like
There-
bigger than TikTok.
There's an engineering manager at my company that also was like on the original team. Honestly, they probably know each other.
They probably know each
Yeah,
other,
they probably
yeah.
do. Yeah.
That's kind
No,
of
whenever I
crazy.
look at his LinkedIn, I'm literally like gagged by the things that he's done. I'm like, you literally worked on like every feature. Like he worked on like carousels
Yeah.
on Instagram. I was like, that's crazy that you like made carousels on
Yeah.
Instagram.
No, that is crazy. But also like she was just a new grad and she just happened to be put on that team.
No, that's crazy.
Maybe she like got into that team. I don't know. I mean, she's definitely smart, but still like that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, Evan Spiegel has been fighting with investors over keeping this business alive for a very long time. His investors are basically demanding that he shut it down, and he's like, absolutely not. This is his life's mission.
Yeah.
And his project is to keep this like AR hardware business running.
Founder mode.
Founder
That is
mode.
so founder mode of him.
I was telling Priya, if there's ever a founder that investors would get rid of, I'm surprised they haven't gotten rid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like his model girlfriend and him are probably vibing.
Yeah. I know. Every time I see him, he's just like living life with Miranda Kerr. He was on like some red carpet the other day, and everyone was talking about it because all the other guys were like dressed crazy, and he was just like there. He's literally the definition of like just there with her.
Yeah. But going back to the glasses, they are the 6th generation device to be carrying the Spec's name, and they are finally aimed at consumers. They are available for $2,195. And what's really interesting is they have no puck, similar to like how the Apple Vision Pro has a puck, no tether, there's no phone required. So there's really a lot of processing going on in the glasses itself. And there's 2 processors that run on the device, one for the computer vision and then one for the actual lenses. And they have a 51-degree field of view with 16 million colors, 30% larger area display than the 5th gen Spec. So I think from like a technology perspective, actually, they do beat the Meta glasses. But they are also 10 times more expensive than the Meta glasses.
Worse
battery. Also, like, a little different than like they have a lot more capabilities in theory than the Meta glasses do.
I mean, it is really cool what they were able to achieve because like the whole part of like the AR like glasses experience is like having a display on your glasses where people can't see through it. I think people still can see them on the other side.
I'm not sure.
Can check.
Claude's answering us. And the stock was down 10% on the news. Claude is taking a really long time to answer you.
Claude always takes a long time. Basically, there's faint light leakage. So you can
but
kind of see it, but you can't read or see anything on it. Yeah. Do you remember like the Pickle OS launch?
No.
So basically there was this like launch that went viral where there was like glasses and they claimed like 2 displays on each side of the glass of the glasses, and then like you'd not be able to see it, and everyone was like there's no way that like a company that was like originally like a scribe software engineering company could like pivot and like make a life-changing technology.
Thanks for the story, Maya.
Okay, well anyways, it went crazy viral because everyone was like, you guys are just sandbagging, like this is not real. And I feel like this is exactly what they were trying to build, which is like Snapchat specs. Like at least like what the Spec looks like, which is like it is a little bit more pricier, but it has a way larger display than the Meta glasses, but it is not as big as like the Apple Vision Pro glasses.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it like reflects into your world. So like the things that you can do with it, for example, is like if you're trying to navigate somewhere, it'll show you the directions of where to walk. Or if you're making a recipe, then it'll like basically tell you what you need, which is like so fun. I was like, that is really cool and fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd buy it for $2,000. And shareholders didn't think so either because the stock was down 10%. But yeah, it is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah. And yeah, the 2 processors that Maya was talking about are Snapdragon processors that are designed by Qualcomm. They are basically on like a bunch of things that are smaller, and because they have 2 different processors instead of one, they have one that's like fully handling the computer vision and one that's handling the OS system. They are able to have a 7-millisecond motion to photon latency, which is basically like the time between you actually moving and then your brain like recognizing it. And when that's too high, that's the issue with like getting motion sickness and like dizzy and like all of those things. And generally people say that when it's under 20 milliseconds is when you stop feeling this. So if they actually are at the 7 milliseconds, that's like very, very good. It's like very state of the art to be at 7 milliseconds.
Okay.
And apparently it's only achieved because it has those 2 different processors. A lot of people say that the strategy is that they want to compete with the iPhone. Thoughts?
I feel like they have no strategy other than trying to get it in people's hand and see what comes out of it.
Well, actually, his quote was, almost 20 years since the launch of the iPhone, people are ready to think about computing differently. And he like very much has said that he's trying to compete with the iPhone.
That was so funny.
She just set me up for that.
Yeah. Priya was like, oh, do you guys think they're trying to compete with the iPhone? And Maya was like, oh, not really. And then you're like, well, actually.
I didn't even realize that.
That was like our MRI conversation earlier. I don't know if I'm just tired or if that was funny.
I actually like didn't even realize I had that in my notes until after I asked the question, so I wasn't trying to do anything.
No, I think that's why it became extra funny.
No, I know that you weren't. It's not in your personality.
Yeah. That's like what made it funny though.
Yeah. It's definitely something I would do.
Yeah. That's like why it was so funny.
Oh my god. Okay.
That is something you would do.
I'm also so brain dead right now.
Yeah. Wait, also the other thing, going back to the photon, what is it? The motion to photon latency, because I was looking into this and I was like, wait, this is so crazy. But I realized that the reason that you feel motion sickness between the mismatch between what your eyes are seeing on the screen and what your head is like actually doing in reality is because your brain thinks it's being poisoned, because that's what happens when you are like drugged. And I never knew that that's like what was happening in your brain, but basically it thinks you're being poisoned, and that's why you get like double vision, you get blurry, like all the things that people used to say about Oculus and stuff like that. It's because it had an above a 20 millisecond delay, but it's because it thinks you're getting poisoned. So that was kind of fun to learn about.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, stock is down. So
Stock is down.
Would they get our check? I know this is not our get.
No.
No, they would not get my check. But I do think that like they're doing something very cutting edge, because I was looking at competitors and like there honestly aren't. Like to your point of what you were saying, no one really does what they're doing. Like the Meta Ray-Bans aren't really what they're doing. Google is also saying they're coming out with intelligent eyewear later this year, but those are also audio glasses. So those compete with like the Meta Ray-Bans, but no one has announced anything close to this. And so regardless, it's cool that they're doing it, in my opinion. Go Evan.
Actually, Sadhna got like the Meta Ray-Bans, and like my dad has a pair too, but he just like never uses it, and I never use his. But she showed me like a lot of the videos that she took, and because she had gone on a trip with just BK, and it was just like the two of them, and I was like, oh wow, this is so cute, like this is great, because I feel like when you're on a couples trip, like you don't actually take a ton of photos. Like when you're in a group trip, there's like so many people, so there's always so many permutations of people of things to take photos of. But when it's just like you and one other person, you're like, what are we gonna do, like take another selfie? And she had all these like great videos, and I was like, wait, that's like,
really cute.
That is really cute. Like it was just like, you know, them like hiking or going through snow, and like all of these very like point of view videos. And I was like, wait, I actually would use that. Like I totally
that,
would.
yeah. Because they're also not that expensive.
Yeah, they're not that expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would pay $2,000 for a pair of glasses. I think that's like honestly the thing, and where it stops. But yeah,
I agree.
I didn't even consider buying it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a thought that entered my brain.
I do think in like 10 years I would buy one.
It's
also just
if
like
it was
too
a normal
bulky.
glasses,
What?
like if it was normal glasses, yeah.
Yeah, I think they will be
I
able
mean, I
to
feel
get
like
down to that form
eventually it'll
factor.
just be in your little contact and then holograph in front of you.
That'd be
okay,
sick.
Black Mirror.
That would be, I could see
I feel
that.
like we're not that far. Like Neuralink is more futuristic than that. No.
But like having the processing, like how are you going to get a chip in your eye?
How do you get a chip in your brain?
That seems more feasible.
Yeah, it's because it has to be translucent.
Like you're going to have a chip on your eye. We'd have to have some crazy new semiconductor technology for that.
Well, what if it's like Bluetooth thing or something? Could that work?
Annika, what are you talking about?
On to Taste Labs, our last segment.
Sometimes you're so smart, and then sometimes it's just like
I don't really know how it works.
Okay, Taste Labs just raised an $18.5 million seed round on a mission to end AI slop, which is what we were just talking about earlier, although it got cut out of the intro. Their launch video got a ton of reactions on X. And yeah, we were just going to talk about like what they're building. There's not like a ton of information about them online, but I do think there's a lot of interesting philosophical conversations on taste and AI.
yeah, I would say the philosophical conversations are uninteresting to me.
Okay, well, what do you want to talk about, Maya?
Sorry, it's just like everyone was like, oh my god, like LLMs are the average of everything. How can you have taste if it's average? I'm like, okay, like we all fucking get it. Like I just thought it was just such an uninteresting conversation. Like everyone knows, like they're obviously not trying to build a tasteful model. Like who's gonna build that? Like are you really that serious? I think they're sorry.
Are you really that serious?
Like it just was such a brain dead conversation to me. Like I like
Wait, you know I said we should get her on the podcast like half a year ago.
yeah, because we met her at that dinner.
Yeah, we met her. And I will say, having spent 30 minutes with her in person, like she had really good thoughts on taste. Well, because our literal design dinner was about taste and design. And I think big picture, like Maya said, everyone agrees that as output becomes like easier to get because of AI, judgment becomes really important. And I don't think that's just with taste. It's also even like if you think about brain trust or all these eval companies, that's all they're doing, right? It's like evaluating output. And so I think like people are thinking about this company too almost philosophically of like, oh, they're trying to create some like second coming of taste and it's like, no, they're just essentially an evaluation tool for design.
And data label. Like
it's data label.
Yeah,
The girl from her core, what's the name of that startup?
Rithika's company.
Like there's a girl that left Mercor to create basically this same thing, but she positions it much more as a data labeling company and basically says like, okay, the way a lot of models are trained was like RLHF, right? Which is basically a bunch of humans, honestly, like a lot of them being even below like the average Silicon Valley person, right? Like you have some random person in a developing country that doesn't have context on anything saying like thumbs up, thumbs down, or like picking an output. And basically Rithika's company is saying, okay, we'll have like designers do this and get like their POV. And that's effectively what I think this company is doing.
Yeah.
It is what this company's doing too.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's very non-controversial.
I agree.
I just think that when you name yourself Taste Labs, first of all, Taste Labs sounds like the like corpo bot version of like what a company name would be.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's all rage bait. Like I think they obviously
No, I
did it.
actually don't think
Yeah,
so.
I don't think
so.
Bait. I don't think it's rage
Wait,
bait.
okay, you know who she kind of reminds me of is Priya.
Like
Do you
this
see that?
Priya?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is Priya. Like I feel like she has like really good taste. Like I feel like you're a good example of someone that has really good taste and like prefers a lot of like neutrals and basics, which is like how her taste comes across to me as well, at least online. I feel like that is just easy to dunk on because if you're calling yourself Taste Labs, I would expect something like very artistic or eclectic.
Yeah, I guess so. So from what I understand, at least watching a lot of the launch videos and stuff, and also thinking about like Mythos's launch, like Fable 5, my guess is that they helped Anthropic train like Mythos or whatever. And like, because a lot of people were like, oh, Fable is like really, really good at designing UIs and like has better taste than the previous model. And I think that the researchers have just agreed upon the idea or paradigm that a model will be checkpointed in time based on what it was trained on and whatever the design ideas at that time were.
Well, she like responded to Schulte on X and was like, our conversations inspired me to start this. And then they say they work for Frontier Labs. So I'm sure it's Anthropic. Like you can just tell by the people she replies to.
Well, you can also just tell by their like demo screenshots that the like literally the aesthetic of their screenshots match exactly the Fable aesthetic. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
if
like they're
Wait,
basically helping. Well, yeah, they're definitely helping Anthropic.
Helping Anthropic makes sense, but I didn't like realize the screenshot thing.
Yeah.
I want to go back and look at them.
it's just so similar. The only reason I noticed it was because I spent so much time thinking about how good Fable was at design and had looked at a lot of the Fable designs that had come out on X because they obviously looked similar after you see a bunch of them, right? And then I had seen the Taste Labs launch and I was like, oh, they definitely just helped them train that. And I think the whole point is like over time they will continuously just hire obviously designers to annotate the newest and best designs, and those will be the new design and taste for the next generation, and the models will just continue evolving of whatever like is trendy at the time, almost to the point where models will have a vintage feel at some point, and some models will be modern, and then some models will be chuggy, right? Like, you know, we might look back in time and say, oh, GP3 images are aesthetic when we're at GPT-20. Like this is
Okay. No, I completely agree. I think that we will have models with a vintage look and things are going to be retro and fun. Honestly, it's going to be really fun to look back at this entire period of our lives.
Yeah.
No, what I was going to say is they're also clearly focused on design right now, but she's also called out creative writing. And her background is very humanities based, and she's a solo founder, which I thought was interesting because, like, I don't know, I would think someone doing something like this might have a technical background. It's like interesting to see that she doesn't. And I do think the models, like, creative writing is a great example of everyone knows there's better creative writing out there, right, than what the models do. That will be like a next thing that they work on.
I mean, their job is just to be like the arbiters of taste, meaning hire the people that they think have good taste, so that Anthropic and OpenAI don't have to think about that problem. Yeah. That's literally it. The other side of their business is an API, and the idea is that if you give it like design system or like an aesthetic that you like and you want that aesthetic to be copied and used, they can do that. And so a company called Flint, which makes essentially like better landing pages or optimizes your ads for you, optimizes your ads for you, and optimizes your conversion rates for you, like you have this like basically dynamic ad or dynamic web page that changes over time as like new data comes in and figures out if your users are really like interacting with it and getting access to it properly. They used the Taste API to help design your web page to your brand aesthetic. Because the founder literally tweeted about it and talked about it, that she uses the Taste API. Yeah. So I don't know exactly how they're doing this, but My guess is right now it must be some form of system prompt. I can't imagine that they're like individually training it per Flint customer.
No, yeah. Well, I imagine, wouldn't it be similar to just like the coding harness companies, but for design, or no?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I think of it as just like Arcanist for design.
Yeah. And so you probably give it just like a design system, and it knows how to implement a design system.
Yeah, and that's a good example of like all the backlash on X was like taste isn't scalable. And I think that's just a very broad category. If you think about a design system, literally something as simple as a font, that is obviously scalable. And I don't think companies are at a place right now where if you ask Claude to produce something, it necessarily will always have all of your company's branding and design and all these things figured out. And obviously there's like certain companies that have solved it, and like there's internal ways to do it too, but it makes sense as a product to me.
It's the same. It's like exactly what you're saying of the coding harness thing. Like you can do it internally. It's just difficult to do.
Yeah. I mean, I've spent personally a lot of time in building like internal design system skills for our design system at Open Evidence. And
it still doesn't
tweaking.
Follow it. But it still doesn't follow it. We also have one internally.
Yeah.
Like to use like specifically our like specific components and everything, and it still makes it up.
Yeah. But I think like it's getting better with the models as the models get better at rule following. Like if the like Fable 5 like is better at rule following, which means it'll follow your design system more. And then I really, really just think that people want to be on trend, and it will be the frontier models like responsibility to stay on trend
that are like defining. Do you think they'll be defining the trend?
No, I don't think they care to.
No. But like, okay, do you think like Taste Labs will be defining the trend, and therefore like the frontier models will like use them and have them?
To me, like Taste is basically responsible for like seeing what the next trends, like fashion predicting is. Like they're basically the fashion predictors. So for example, like Perplexity brought back serif font. I don't know if you guys know this, but like the Perplexity font was like very, very iconic, and now every tech company likes serif font now and uses serif font.
I did not know that.
Well, yeah, like if you look at it like 5 years ago, like all the tech company headings were sans font.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Perplexity. It's kind of like True Fate actually, where it's like very tall and skinny, and now every
time like a serif font, it's like we also use serif fonts. Yeah, because like every time I look at a non-serif font, I'm like, this looks chooky.
Because that was the Apple aesthetic 5-10 years ago, and so my guess is that they have people that predict graphic design
I need
trends.
these people, because every time I try to use Canva, it literally makes me want to blow my brains out.
Yeah. Well, that is
really,
also,
it like literally like pisses me off to no end. And the thing is, like, I will spend like 2 hours on it.
Yeah.
And I get nowhere. Like I literally get nowhere.
Well, Canva is like a pre-AI company, right?
Yeah.
But
exactly.
the point of Canva was to be this for you, was to like give you the trendiest fonts.
And everyone's saying like the fact that Canva didn't IPO yet, they're really cooked. Why would you invest in a higher valuation for Canva when like it's such a good time for like someone to upseat Canva?
But Canva has really good market penetration in the enterprise contracts. Like every school gives it to their users.
But everyone, like at least, I don't know how true this is, but what people are saying is like not necessarily, their revenue is going to tank like next year. Yeah. They're saying it's like not a hot market for them to IPO in because the narrative isn't there. Yeah. And like they should have just IPO'd like a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Which I think probably is true. Like they probably wouldn't get the same multiple. I guess like the separate philosophical conversation that came to mind for me was like how obsessed with taste Silicon Valley has become, because I feel like not having taste was actually a point of pride. Yeah. Historically. Like
because
it's like
you didn't have time to think about taste.
Yeah. Like it was like, we're like output maxing and coding is so hard and it takes so much time and mental energy. And so we don't have time to like think about our outfit. We don't even like we have $1 billion company, but our mattress is on the floor and like we came out of a garage. Even outside of the product aspect of it, I feel like people have become obsessed with like particles that tell you to dress well, renting out the nicest venue in SF, like really street styley merch, or like some like hipster cafe pop up, like Cursor Cafe, Anthropic at a cafe. And do you guys think that's just because the cost of producing software has gone down, or is it something else?
The pendulum just like swings back in the other direction. And so I don't know if it's like correlated to that, or if it's just that like people were really over everything, and so it just went in the complete other direction.
Do you think it's ever like I was trying to think like has tech ever cared about taste before? Because I agree with you, like pendulums just swing. But then like I don't know if there's ever been a period of time tech really cared about that.
I actually think like there's been a lot of advancement in front end development outside of AI that has enabled a lot of this. Like it used to be really hard to build a website. And it used to be really hard to style buttons and like style fonts and keep it consistent and like have reactive UIs and React. First you invented React, then you invented Next.js, and so like there's actually a lot of there's a lot of forward movement in the front end world of technology outside of AI building software that made it very possible to build beautiful websites. And I think that was part of the foundation into building like really tasteful designs for tech because it was just easier. And then I think I agree with you that like AI makes it easier. Like it makes it easier for you to at least meet the bar of like what all the aesthetic is, and not necessarily like exceed the bar. But I don't think that there is like necessarily like increasingly amount of companies that are exceeding the bar. Like I think, for example, Apple was exceeding the bar of its time, compared to Dell or HP, right? And I look at like companies now today, and I honestly think OpenAI just hits the bar, but I think like Anthropic exceeds the bar.
Yeah.
And but if you would look at OpenAI and say, oh, it's pretty tasteful, like the fonts and the styles are really aesthetic, but I think it's also just easy now to hit that aesthetic. Not to diminish OpenAI's design team or whatever, but I think they just picked a really simplistic and easy to execute thing, and decided it wasn't worth it past that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.